Morning, Mr. and Mrs. Ross. Thank you very much for coming into my office today for this meeting. I know you guys are probably eager to go over the financial plan that I have come up with for both of you and for your retirement, and I have it right here. It is pretty lengthy, so feel free to stop me at any point if you guys want me to explain something, go more in depth, or if you guys are confused or have any sort of considerations as far as to what I have recommended. And just remember, these are all recommendations. These aren't anything that have to be finalized. You guys don't have to follow this. These are just my recommendations in order to have a successful financial future. So first, I'm going to start off with some of your wants, needs, and wishes, just to kind of go over those again. What I had seen and what you had provided me was that you would like to leave a bequest of $200,000 to your children. You would like to plan for a wedding in 2021, and that would be around $50,000. You'd like to pay Bregman's college when he's starting in 18. And then some other needs that I see on your workbook would be traditional health care, basic living expenses, and then you guys would also like to each have a new car every 4 years and $40,000 per car. And then some wishes that I see on your workbook are having a timeshare and excuse me, and travel expenses of $10,000 annually. And with the timeshare, I didn't see any sort of financial information as far as what that would cost. So if you guys do end up finding something for that, please feel free to let me know. And I would love to put that into your plan. And so I'm going to kind of go over a couple of those things again real quick as far as what I guess the goals of this financial plan are. And so, as I had just previously mentioned, just a little bit more in detail, the bequest would be for Jason, Jenna, and Bregman. You'd like me to add in the living expenses for retirement, paying for Bregman's college, plan for a wedding, buying new cars, and then traveling, and also a big part of your retirement would be investing as well. So after reviewing all these, I see that your current financial portfolio probably wouldn't work out for everything that you want in retirement. And so that's why I'm here, is to create a financial plan for you guys that would be successful and lead you guys into the retirement that would be as close to fitting as your current wants and needs and wishes go. Something that can carry all that out. And so what I've done is put together a portfolio using a financial kind of planning software, and some of the things I'd put in there after all your needs and wants and everything were added into that. It had a 60% success rate, and which isn't bad to begin with, for sure. However, we would like that to be around the 70, 80% success rate at the minimum. And so after I had made some changes, kind of looked through everything and allocated money elsewhere, I got it up to 90% of a success rate, which is great. And obviously, all the changes that I made, we can change those as well to more fit your liking. And so I will go over some of those changes with you as well. Let's see here. So one of the main things that I saw with your financial plan was the education funding for Bregman, and he will be going to college, or at least you guys plan for him to go to college when he turns 18. And so I have put together a list of different plans that would be a smart idea to invest in. And the first plan that I will go over with you guys is the 529 plan, and it's a college savings plan. It's a tax-deferred plan. It can be removed. Money can be removed from the account tax-free if it is used to pay for higher education. Married couples may contribute up to $150,000 a year to this plan for this one child, and each state varies with restrictions as well, but there's no income restrictions existing with this plan. Funds can be transferred to another beneficiary as well if, for instance, Bregman decides not to go to college. So that's plan number one. Plan number two is Coverdell account. And this account, you can contribute $2,000 a year to pay from kindergarten all the way up till grad school. And the money in the account grows tax-free, but is taxed once it is removed. However, the money can be removed tax-free if it is used to pay for higher education. That's the whole goal of this plan anyways. And so this would include books, room and board, tuition, etc. And so would the 529 plan as well. Those would both be the same thing. Now you can contribute to this account all the way up until a child's 18th birthday. Income restrictions to couples make under 190, so they have to make 190,000 or under for couples, and so that's a restriction that the 529 account does not have. And so the last plan that I'm going to talk to you guys about is a custodial account, and this account is probably the most free of restrictions. And so for this plan, the minor is considered the owner of the account once they turn 18, and once they turn 18 they can use the money however they want. It doesn't have to be towards higher education. It's whatever they want to do with the money. And so money can be contributed to the account from anybody at any time. Let me see what else goes over this. There's no limit to what can be added to this account as well. Once they do turn 18 or 21, it depends on the state, the child can remove that money. Now, there are going to be taxes to this account at a child's tax rate. But once they do turn 18 or 21, that minor does become the owner of the account, and he or she can spend it however they would like to. So after going through all of those, after I kind of analyze your situation, what the goal of your plan is, and looked at all three of those, I believe that the 529 college savings plan would be the best option, because what I see is you guys do believe Bregman will be going to college, and that's the ultimate goal here. And to fund that, I think that the 529 would be the best, because money can be removed from the account tax-free. Goes towards higher, if it goes towards higher education, which we do believe that will be the plan here. And you contribute up to $150,000 a year, and all of his whole 4 years will probably not even cost that much for him to go to undergraduate school, those 4 years. And what I see as far as 1 year of college costing would be $25,290. So up to $150,000 a year would be plenty for contributing per year. And as far as my suggestions, as far as how much to add into the account per year, I would suggest, if you do plan on doing the 4 years, I would plan on doing at least $6,750 per year up until he turns 18. This will be enough to cover for his schooling, for his undergraduate education. However, I do think that currently with your plan, I feel like that is kind of a stretch as far as paying for the full 4 years. What I do think would be a better financial option currently for you guys, without making other changes at this moment, would be paying for maybe just 2 years of his college and contributing $3,375 per year to the 529 college savings plan. I think that this would be a more doable option, and would leave you more money for yourselves in order to fund your other goals as well. And I will go more in depth with some other suggestions with that as well later on in this. So as I mentioned earlier, your current plan, prior to me making a new plan, was at a 60% success rate, and which is kind of low. And once I made changes to it, it now has a 90% success rate, which I think is great. And I will go over some of the things that I had done to make changes to that to get it to that number. So here are some of my recommendations that I have changed with your current plan. So Land Utopia that you guys both own, currently, I think unless it doesn't hold any sort of value personally to you guys other than just owning the land, I think it would be a good option to sell the land unless you have further plans developing it or using it for during your retirement. If you do have some sort of plans like that, please let me know, and then I can add that into your plan as well. But currently, since I don't see any sort of, development with the land, I think it would be best to sell that and use that, the money from that to go towards your retirement. And that would be a good amount of money that I think you guys would be able to profit off of that land. And so some of that money would be allocated to medical expenses. So currently, Anne will need medical support in the future, and in order to plan for that, it'd be best if you could provide any sort of routine medical costs, either monthly or annual, anything you guys have. Please, if you could provide that to me, I'd love to be able to calculate that in and set up a budget as far as how much medical expenses that you guys would need for that. And second, I think it's always great to have, I think everyone should have an emergency fund set up in case you never know when something wrong is going to happen. Car accident, where you have to get medical procedures done, or even for Anne herself. And I think at least from that land, if you do sell that, I think you could allocate $50,000 minimum. I think would be great, just to have an emergency fund in case anything ever goes wrong. I think that would be a good starting point for an emergency fund for medical expenses or any other things. And another thing, so as I mentioned earlier, college for Bregman, I had suggested only paying for 2 years of his college. However, depending on if you guys decide to keep the land, I do think that if you do sell the land, you can definitely take some of that money and contribute that to the current 529 plan that I had mentioned, and you guys would definitely be able to pay for the full 4 years of his college, and I think that would be a great use of that money as well. Instead of just paying for the 2, if you guys do want to pay for that full 4 years, then I think it would be smart to sell the land in Utopia and allocate some of that money to that fund. So last, I'm going to go over a few other changes as far as investments go, and a couple other financial decisions as well that I have added to your plan. So I notice a lot of money in your portfolio is invested in the stock market. And as you guys are nearing retirement, I believe that it would be the safest option to invest in more bonds rather than stocks, because stocks are more risky, bonds are less risky. And even though bonds take a little bit longer to grow, it's a lot less risky. And I think in your retirement, you guys will be able to manage that and allow that money to grow rather than taking a risk and having a financial crisis, and then we would be talking about a whole different financial plan here. So I definitely think that would be good as far as investing goes. A couple other suggestions I have made. Now with your cars, $40,000 for each of you every 4 years, so $80,000 every 4 years, I think is a bit much with this plan. I definitely think maybe finding a car in the $30,000 range, I think is a little more doable. Also, a thing that I was thinking about is kind of hard to describe here, but basically, if one of you guys buys a car in year 1, $30,000 right there. Now you wait for a while and you just buy that one, then you buy another car 2 years later, $30,000. So instead of buying a new car for both of you every 4 years, I definitely think you guys can wait. I would say you can do it up to 8 years. Actually, I would think buying a new car 4 years, just one car new every 4 years, rather than buying 2 new cars every 4 years. Buy one car year one, save that car for 8 years, but then buy another new car 4 years later. So you're still getting a new car every 4 years. However, you're not buying 2 brand new cars every 4 years. So that's my suggestion with that. I think you would save a lot of money with that and be able to use that for either traveling expenses or just kind of your everyday needs. And with traveling, I think $10,000 annually is going to be out of your budget. However, we can change that as well. If you guys do plan on a certain vacation every year, you can allocate money elsewhere. I think spending $5,000 to $6,000 a year, I know that's cutting it in half, but I think that is the most doable with this plan. I think spending that much per year is the best option. And obviously money from the land, the Utopia land, that's a large sum of money that we can allocate into your financial plan as well. But currently, I think that is the best option. And also, I don't have the financial information for a timeshare, so I definitely think that could change this as well. But those are my current suggestions for your plan, and I think after going through all that, if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Any concerns, if you would like to make any sort of changes to your to that plan that I just described to you, feel free to let me know as well. I'd be happy to work with you guys, and feel free to call me, email me at any time. I will be available, and it has been a pleasure working with you, and look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you.